What's the word, everybody? This is your boy, the sports Dr. Spock, Mickey Coleman. My man Willie D here from the Ghetto Boys has some very interesting things to say about one of my all-time idols. Also one of his all-time favorite idols in acting, Denzel Washington, who admitted to a couple of very interesting things in the interview he had. Take it away, Willie D, the clean-up man.
What's up, family? Denzel Washington has a new movie out, Gladiator 2, released
Let a Hoe Be a Hoe. I love Willie D.
November 22nd in theaters. In a recent interview, Denzel was asked about a decorated director by the name of Stanley Kubrick. Stanley released most of his films from 1962 to
Scary looking guy with the beard and the wild ass hair. Ooh. How come all these famous dudes be so unkept? Well, maybe he was outside and it was cold and it was kind of wild. But whatever. Continue on with the video.
To 1975. He dropped a couple
Fair
of
use.
films in the
Doing
80s
commentary.
and one in 1999, the year he died at the age of 70. A snapshot of his work includes Dr. Strangelove, The Shining. He did Full Metal
The Shining,
Jacket.
huh?
A lot of stuff that I'm sure you guys are familiar with. The interviewer had on a Stanley Kubrick t-shirt, which he wore assuming that Denzel was a Kubrick fan, which he quickly found out he wasn't. Denzel said, man, I'm not a movie buff.
Really?
How you become perhaps the greatest ever?
This is like Michael Jordan saying, I don't like basketball. That's amazing to me. You could be so great at something that you don't give a fuck about. Some things are just a means to an end. But maybe he enjoys his work. Maybe he enjoys acting and not really being in the movies.
Ever to do what you're doing.
Look at the look on Willie D's face. I'm fucked up too.
Like really be a real fan of it.
It's got me fucked up too, Willie D.
Denzel said he didn't really start getting into movies, watching movies, until he was well into his 20s. Could have fooled the hell out of me.
Me too. Can you imagine that? Like, I've been watching movies all my life. As far back as I can remember, I was watching Thriller. Some of my first movies I've seen, Beverly Hills Cop, the first one, which is probably still my all-time favorite movie, maybe because it's my very first movie that I can really remember watching. Purple Rain when I was a little kid. Like me, myself, I've been watching movies since I was a little boy. A small fry, if you will. And Denzel said he wasn't even messing with movies until he was in his 20s.
In any event.
And he's a better actor than all y'all who've been watching movies your whole lives. Some of these folks grew up in Hollywood and are second-generation actors and actresses and ain't half as good as Denzel, and he ain't never really even been a movie fan. Go ahead, Willie. I'm sorry.
Denzel said, nah, man, I was in the streets back then. Around that time, I was in the streets. I was most likely to rob you when you came out of the theater watching a Kubrick film.
Bonzo was real. Man.
Man, I don't know what to make of Denzel right now. Like, he's just sharing a lot. Like, one might say oversharing. I mean, I guess it was a long time ago, and I guess it makes for good conversation. But still, Denzel robbing folks. No wonder he played Training Day so well. No wonder.
Don't forget, y'all, go subscribe Not only subscribe here to the Mick and Mike Love podcast, subscribe to the Sports Dr. Spock, and subscribe to Willie D Live. Willie D has a lot of great content. He's a funny guy. He's a serious guy. He's a rap icon, and has great content. Has over 1 million subscribers now. Congratulations on that, Willie D.
He was so good in American Gangster.
Or Training Day.
Fam, all the time.
It was the dirty cop.
Thinking that because Denzel is playing all of these honorable characters, that it's a stretch. And Denzel don't get into no trouble, right? We thinking like when we see him playing something gangster that, oh man, he must have really worked overtime. He must have been really focused. He must have had to visit the hood and go through some extensive training, to be able to deliver those parts all alone. Denzel, a stick-up kid. Or was.
I love Willie D.
All alone. Denzel was a stick-up kid. Who would have guessed?
I wish I could do a Denzel impression right now. All right, put your hands above your head. I can't do it. It ain't even going to be funny. I ain't even going to attempt it now. Could you imagine him robbing you? Give me all your money. I didn't know you like to get wet.
Hey, but fam, you know what they say. Every sinner has a future and every saint has a past. I guess that's what happens when you get to be a certain age. You just don't give a damn what people think.
Or how people
you just
feel.
let it out. I guess it's therapeutic. Because Denzel also shared that he kissed a man on the set.
He did went from gangster to gangster. Woo-wee. So, see, Willie don't think this is all that funny. But homosexuality is a part of our culture, and it's been a part of Hollywood culture. I wouldn't be shocked to hear this about anyone, but he's saying that he did it for a scene in a movie. And a lot of other actors say that they wouldn't do it, especially male actors that are in, my black community, saying that it takes something away, or they don't want to do it because they don't want to do it because it promotes a certain agenda. But no, I believe that pretty much all of them have done something. You know what I'm saying? And Denzel is admitting to it.
Of Gladiator 2. This is something that he said totally, he volunteered it, totally unsolicited. Like, he was like, yeah, I kissed a guy, and they cut out the scene. I hope and I pray.
He hopes
Denzel,
and prays.
my favorite actor of all time.
Probably mine too.
Pray that Denzel does not do anything to taint his legacy. I mean, I'm so damn glad that they cut that scene. See, sometimes, man, I don't care how good you are at what you do. You can be a genius, but ain't none of us perfect. We've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God and our parents' expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Even Denzel can get it wrong. Even when he think he has it right, he can get it wrong. I am so damn glad they cut that scene out because I don't want to have to see that, man. Hopefully, since he put it out there, somebody don't go write a script for him and he pursue that and put that out. I don't need to see that in no Denzel movie. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment.
Yeah, you guys do that for me in this video. Comment, like, subscribe. And don't forget to subscribe to the Sports Doc Radio channel too. I will have plenty of content coming up there in a couple days. The long form videos will be on the Sports Doc Spock channel, and the podcast videos will pretty much stay on the Mick and Mike Love podcast. I'm just doing this right now for the Mick and Mike Love podcast to get some content up. But the long form content featuring just me will no longer be on this podcast, on the podcast channel, just as soon as the Sports Doc Spock channel grows just a little bit. So check us out on both channels, and we'll see you soon. Take care.